Hello everybody, Vagabond here and welcome to my channel, VagabondGames. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, favorite and subscribe, it really helps me out. The topic of today's commentary is the performance of Battlefield 4 multiplayer. As someone who plays Call of Duty more often than Battlefield, I'm definitely used to weird and annoying things happening due to connection issues. However, the Battlefield community, including prominent commentators such as LevelCap, have voiced a negative opinion of Battlefield 4 in the past due to connection issues. I'm going to give my personal opinion on this issue. There's no doubt that Battlefield has more than its fair share of problems. A personal issue for me is the difficulty with which the game is able to get me into a game when I first start my gaming session. Over half the time I start up, Battlefield throws me into the very end of the game, or I don't even have the opportunity to play. This is really annoying and frustrating and often causes me to quit and just play something else and not even bother playing Battlefield. The most hated netcode issue in Battlefield 4 has to be the infamous rubber banding glitch. For those of you unfamiliar with this horrible glitch, well, you're lucky for one thing, but this glitch causes you to be teleported back, like when you're trying to run forward, and it just kind of throws you backwards. You try to run forward again, it keeps throwing you back, and it's really annoying. It basically feels like the name suggests, it feels like your character is on the end of like a bungee cord and you keep throwing forward. It often also feels as if you're against like an invisible wall and you can't move like you'd want to. Recently, supposedly DICE has run out a new set of high performance servers, but it's too soon to tell whether or not this will have much of an impact on the game. And in fairness, this is 6 months into the Battlefield 4 life cycle. That's a quarter of the game's life cycle, assuming that the game is going to have a 2-year life cycle like Battlefield 3. And the fact that it took DICE a quarter of the game's life cycle, think of that, a quarter of the game's life cycle, to figure out a way to address this horrible issue, I just find that absolutely unacceptable. A problem I have with Battlefield that a lot of you probably don't have is the maps for smaller game modes such as Team Deathmatch and Domination. For those of you unfamiliar with Battlefield, the game has different size maps for different game modes. For large scale game modes with vehicles such as Conquest and Rush, they will use the entire map to facilitate these vehicles. For smaller scale game modes without vehicles such as Team Deathmatch and Domination, they choose a section of the larger map for you to play in. I feel as though Battlefield 3 did a far better job of choosing what section of the map you play on these smaller game modes than Battlefield 4 does. A prime example of this is the map Flood Zone. On Team Deathmatch on this map, you're basically on 2 blocks of flats. These 2 blocks are there's so many camping spots in these maps, and the map is so littered with random crap that you get caught up every time you try strafe in a gunfight, and you just lose and you get frustrated, and the map is just not enjoyable at all to play on. A major issue I have with Battlefield 4 is the fact that it often loses connection to EA servers, and I know it probably happens when I'm having a bad game, but it always just seems so worse when you're on a good game. Like this one you're watching right now, it's what I could consider the start of a good game. Like, 5 minutes in, I get about 11 kills or something like that, and if it continues, I might get 30 kills. That's pretty good. But if you watch towards the end, the game just lose connection to EA servers, and that is just so annoying. And I really hope this problem is soon rectified because it's just driving me mad. Anyway, despite all my complaining about Battlefield 4, it has to be said that it's a really good game. There's Levolution on every map, and for those of you unfamiliar, Levolution is where a large scale player triggered event occurs on every map. For example, on Paracel Storm, it's like a massive ship crashes into the map, and it's just amazing. There are a greater variety of guns available pre-DLC in previous games. In Battlefield 3 there was loads of guns, but I felt as if you had to buy DLC to get these guns. The weapon leveling up system is head and shoulders above that in Battlefield 3, which I found to be quite confusing. Like, I never really knew what I had to do to get each attachment for every gun. Anyway, that's all I have to say on the subject of Battlefield 4. Maybe you can make up your own minds. Vagabond out.